guys, welcome back. Today we're going to be taking a look at another Transformer, and this is actually the only figure in the Transformers 4 Age of Extinction entire assortment that I've actually been looking forward to. This is the only one I've wanted to get my hands on. Let's take a look. This is the Evasion mode Optimus Prime. This is part of the Age of Extinction line. You can see the logo down there. You can tell it's part of the new year of Transformers because it's got the white stripe with the big, bold, red letters. That's how they're doing the all of the Transformers this year, so they stand out. They're very bright, easy to see in the toy aisle. You've got the artwork from the movie here, and then on the back, you've got a picture of him in his robot mode, and you've got a picture in the alt mode, which is the short snub-nosed cab, which is the one I wish they would have done the entire time. This is the only reason I want to get this, is so I can take a look at this alt mode. This is the only thing that draws me to this figure. If this was still that regular truck mode like they've had in every other movie, I would totally ignore this line completely and want nothing to do with it. But there you go. That is going to be awesome. I can't wait to see how it actually looks. Now, one thing to point out here is that it does say changes in 18 steps. It doesn't have the beginner, intermediate, expert scale that they usually have on there. They apparently have dropped that, and they now have the number of steps on there, so you know how easy or difficult it is to transform. And you can also see something I've noticed with all of the new Transformers figures this year is that instead of having twist ties or the invisible bands holding them down, they actually have these little clear plastic wires on here that have those T-clips at the end. If you've ever bought a piece of clothing from a mass market retailer, a Kmart, Walmart, Target, Famous Bar, even perhaps Bergner's, Sears, whatever, the price tags come with that T-bar type tag clip on it, and that's what's being used this year to hold these in place. So I guess that's a little cheaper than those clear plastic bands that they have. They're easier to break and cut, so that's probably helpful there for getting the figure out. But it is worth noting that they did change that this year, so there you go. All right, let's get my hands on this guy and get him transformed. First, though, let's take a look at his robot mode. So with the magic of video editing, he's now out of the box and ready to be looked at. Let's check it out. Okay, let me first start by saying that I absolutely hate this look for Optimus Prime. This robot mode of Optimus Prime I have hated since the first movie. First it showed him off in the trailers and whatnot. I hate the janky look of the exposed gears and everything. I hate how all of these pieces look like folded origami on top of each other. I hate the look of the face. I really like his original look, and this movie inspired where they took off what they called his battle mask. Instead of it being simple and smooth, and the way it's always been, they had to make everything 10 steps more extravagant, 10 steps more overdone, over detailed, just too much in it. Everything about this robot mode I dislike, and it has everything to do with pretty much the philosophy of the movies. So that's my rant about the figure. I will never display him in this robot mode. He is always going to be in his alt mode, and his alt mode is the only reason why I wanted to buy this. But I will say there are some positives as far as the figure. Even though the wheels are not rubber and they are plastic, they are very smooth. Unlike on the cheaper figures where they just have a couple tension pegs kind of holding it into place, these are bolted on, so that does feel pretty nice. He does come with a gun, and the gun is spring-loaded with a missile, so it does actually shoot. So those of you who like having your shooting projectile weapons, that is available. And he does have clear glass. so you can actually see through. It's not the same, painted blue and silver squares. It does actually have window glass, so that's nice, even though I can see right here on his elbow, there's part of the glass there, and of course it's attached right to that elbow joint, so that's going to look a little janky in there, but whatever, we'll get through it. That's not that big of a deal, I don't think yet, but we'll see as soon as we transform. The rest of him, it has the same basic overall look as the original G1 Optimus Prime. I mean, obviously, this is going to be the midsection where the cab sits on top. This is going to be the back. The feet are going to go on the back of the cab there. So you do kind of see the basic look of that original G1 figure kind of hidden inside, even though this is not really... As far as I'm concerned, this is not a good look. I do not like this look at all. Now, one thing I will point out that is kind of interesting is that he comes in robot mode. You open the package, you see robot mode, but when you get the instructions actually start in cab mode and show you how to transform him from the cab into the robot. Even though you have him, he's already the robot, you're actually going to have to look at these instructions and do it backwards, and with Hasbro instructions, that's not always the easiest thing to do. But we'll try it out and see how frustrating it actually is. So, once again, using the wonderful powers of video editing, he is now transformed into that awesome cab mode I've been waiting to see, dying to see, so let's hop in and take a look. And there he is in his beautiful cab glory. All right, now, first of all, I'm just going to say something that a lot of you are going to say, well, no, duh, we already knew that. But these instructions, these are worthless. You're better off just kind of tossing this aside and figuring it out for yourself, because these instructions, besides the fact that they're backwards, they don't work. There's a lot of times when, it shows that you fold something out, so you're going backwards, so you fold it in, and the next piece that you're supposed to move isn't there. It's supposed to be there because of the way it looked in robot mode, or the way it was supposed to be originally coming from here, turning it into robot mode, but the piece isn't there. The piece is moved in some other spot. So as far as the instruction goes, these are pretty much worthless. Now, for those of you who know the original Optimus Prime, it is somewhat similar, especially when it comes to doing the legs. The big thing, though, is that this piece up here is, in fact, the forearm kind of hiding in there. This is the elbow, so you do have to kind of twist it around and put it into place. And the head, this whole section is what folds over, and the head is underneath there. So the head is still flipped over upside down like in the original G1 version. It's just that there's a lot more stuff that has to flip to go with it. For the most part, it's fine. You do see a little bit of weird kibble back here because of the way it all flips over. You do have these extra panes of glass from his chest, and those are thrown there. And, oddly enough, when he's in robot mode, the windshield wipers are up in these fake pieces of glass. When he's in alt mode, windshield wipers are down. So there you go. There's a conspiracy for you. Figure out why that is. Now, as you can see, it doesn't quite line up perfect. Because you have all these different pieces coming together, you do have certain issues with some of these lines just not quite coming together as well as they probably should. Some of these gaps, you have to kind of push with some of these pieces just to get them to kind of line up flat, because they do have seams in some of the weirdest spots, instead of just having it be solid pieces. But to its credit, I will give it a couple, bonus pieces here. The pipes here, they have the pipes on one side, unlike, regular Optimus Prime where he's got a pipe on each side. They are there. They do fold out of the way as part of the transformation process. So when you do fold them up, they are there. And that is nice that they did, leave that intact there. And the one thing I will say is with the feet you actually kind of twist the legs together, kind of fold them together, and then fold the feet up, and it does make a trailer hitch. So this is actually, I'm waiting now, there's going to be some sort of third-party trailer coming soon enough, I'm sure, that will attach either in these holes or in the actual rig itself, but that is nice that you do have that extra piece on there that will allow you to put a trailer, and of course you put a trailer, it's going to block off this part here, which I just think kind of looks very lame, but whatever. Now, we talked before about how the elbows were right behind those pieces of clear plastic glass here, and as you can see, indeed, they are there. That blocks that, so that does look a little silly. I do kind of almost wish that, like they have the painted silver windows on the side, they had just painted those silver across there, and it would have taken care of probably the worst part of that, because these aren't clear, so obviously it doesn't really matter if these are, especially because of the way that that looks. One of the other weird things, as my light starts to flicker again, stupid light, turn that off. These part of the window up here, because it's on this piece, it's a very small part, they just left it red. So part of your actual window in here is a red piece of plastic, which kind of looks a little janky. But overall, I'm going to put this on my shelf just like this in the cab mode. That doesn't look too bad. And considering everything in the Bayformers movies, 4 movies now, 1 figure out of 4 movies I actually like enough, I'm going to put this on my shelf. So at least he's finally figured out enough to give me a figure I'm going to like, even though other than maybe Grimlock in this movie, I can't think of another design that I actually like as far as the Transformers movies. Now, what do you do with the big gun? Well, he does have the hole in the top, and as we've seen with some of the other, smaller figures, some of the Legion class figures, whatever, they just have a spot there where it can attach to the top, which of course looks incredibly silly. I wouldn't leave it there. It reminds me of an older there was an Optimus Prime versus Megatron box set, had the cab version of Optimus Prime, had like a swinging arm action feature, and they actually mounted the gun in the back here, and looking at these holes that they have, it does kind of fit. You do have to kind of push it in there, but it will fit, and that to me at least looks 100 times better. It looks a little more, I guess you could say, plausible. I don't know if that's the right term you want to use, but that doesn't look too bad. So I will go ahead and leave it like that, and now I have an Optimus Prime that I can actually enjoy and be somewhat proud of. Alright guys, so there you go. 4 movies, finally 1 figure I actually enjoy the look of, at least in alt mode. Even though I still hate the robot mode. But there you go. This is the new Voyager class Evasion mode Optimus Prime from Transformers Age of Extinction. Don't forget to go to popculturenetwork.com. We've got more reviews of the Age of Extinction toys going up there, as well as lots of other toys, comic books. There's some video game stuff up there as well, so make sure you go check all of that out. If you want to ask me any more questions, any follow-ups on this, or anything else we talk about here, or just random questions in general. Are stewed prunes really good? No, they're not. But you can ask me stuff like that on Twitter. It's at PCN_dirt. You can also call our 24-hour voicemail line. It's area code 217-953-4025. Call and leave a message there, or go to jointheforums.com, the official forums of the Pop Culture Network. You can talk to all the other great people that like to talk about toys, comic books, video games, pro wrestling, and all that other great stuff. So make sure you guys check all of that out. That's going to do it for me today. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.